Hello, everyone out there in YouTube land. I hope that everything is starting to come together for you as this year 2020 winds down. It has been a very, very difficult and trying year for most of us, but I remain optimistic about what 2021 holds from us, and I'm hoping that we are actually learning and growing from these experiences that have come to light this year. And as I was reading the news, something has surfaced recently about a 50-year-old woman in Chicago who had people just basically burst into her home while she was naked or half naked, depends on which report you read. And this is an innocent woman, and basically this is a police raid of some sort, and they've got the wrong apartment, which seems to happen more times than not if you keep up with these kind of things, and this is just amazing. And it's almost like when I read these reports that many times the police departments activists as if it's not that serious, and they offer some kind of textbook apology, and then that's about it. But I think that's not enough, because these situations are and have been quite dangerous and fatal in some cases. So I want to pose some questions here. 5 basic questions for why we might need to stop police raids. Let's get into it a little bit. So I think we should consider the following when we talk about these raids. Are they necessary? Is the one thing I'm going to talk about here. What are the alternatives? What other things could we do? And I want to ask these departments, these units, are you 100% sure that you have the right people or you have the right address? Do these people deserve to die? Now, this is a very important question here. And what are the effects these things are having on our society? Let's get into this a little bit deeper here. So the first question that I wanted to pose is, are they necessary? I mean, the reason why I'm asking this in form of questions is because I'm not a police officer. I've never been a police officer, and I've also never been a wanted criminal or suspect. We'll keep it as suspect because we don't really know if these people are actually criminals that are being charged. So I want to get into some questions. I want to find this out. So are they necessary? Do we really need to break someone's door down forcibly? Do we really need to barge into their home many times early in the morning or late at night unannounced? Is that really necessary in all cases? Does it have to be a hostile and aggressive thing that's going on here? Do we need to run in with screaming and yelling and throwing all kinds of weapons around? Threatening? Is this really what needs to happen? And do we have to terrify this woman's children? There's another story I'm referring to here where a young woman and her 4 children were in their apartment, and the police raid once again had the wrong address, and they bust the door down and run in, guns drawn. Now this is a terrifying situation for a mom and traumatizing for the children. And then you've got the wrong place, and then all you want to say is, oh, we're sorry, we've got the wrong place. Yeah, now this woman is living with her children, and her door is damaged. She can't close it, she can't lock it, and you just leave. And now she's there. She wasn't safe, I guess, in the first place. Now she's really not safe. Was there another way to go about this? That's a good question. We really need to think about this. The next question I would like to ask is, what are the alternatives here? Are there any other ways to go about this? Can we approach this situation with less violence? That's one. Because if you just burst into someone's house, they have a right to protect themselves, especially when they have no idea what's going on. You just burst into their house unannounced. What you do is you trigger their fight or flight systems and within their body, their fight or flight. And what this does is they make a decision many times based on instinct, the fight or flight instinct, and this could be potentially dangerous for all parties involved, and it doesn't really have to be, I don't think. Can these suspects be apprehended away from a residential area? Why does it seem that we're so locked in and making this happen inside a residential area, especially when there might be apartment buildings where there are other units attached and you got bullets flying everywhere and innocent people who are not even involved in the situation to begin with? For example, in the case of 7-year-old Ayanna Jones, who was sleeping on the sofa when this police raid goes wrong, and they're in the wrong unit, and they just run in guns blazed, and a little girl is shot dead, gone. And the people involved here, it seems like no one wants to take responsibility for this. I've just seen lots of excuses from this case thrown around. Well, someone interfered, and this doesn't, listen, because of your mistake, a little innocent 7-year-old girl is dead. That's the bottom line. So I have to ask you, what are the alternatives here? How can we reduce these kind of incidents from happening? Another question that I would really like to ask these raid units, are you 100% sure? Because every time you go to the wrong place, it's always the informant's fault. That's interesting. Are there other things you can do to check that you have the right address in the first place? You might want to consider that. Because in my opinion, there's no room for error here. There's absolutely no room for error. And once you think you have the right address, how do you know? Have you done any kind of due diligence? What do you do to verify these addresses and things like that? And if you have a procedure in place for this, how might it be improved upon? Another case here, at the wrong house, 12-year-old boy shot in the knee doing a raid at his home. Now, this 12-year-old boy hasn't done anything wrong, and you can throw out any excuse that you want to, right? But it doesn't take away the trauma that this poor kid is going to carry with the rest of his life, not to mention if it might have led to a handicap. It might have ruined some kind of other career that he may have potentially had. There's tons of things wrong here, tons. And then again, it's basically the same old thing. There's an empty apology, and maybe you throw a little bit of money at it, the taxpayer money at it, but this does not solve the issue. There's obviously a problem here. Do these people deserve to die? And I'm not only referring to the names that I'm mentioning in this video that have died as a result of this. When you decide you're going to raid a home, is the crime that they're suspected of committing, do they deserve to die from that? Because it seems like these raids are geared towards violence and the intent to harm or kill someone rather than apprehend. That's what it seems like. I could be wrong, but that's what it seems like from the things that we are constantly coming upon here. So yeah, as I mentioned, is the crime punishable by death? And that's a whole other topic there. But I mean, what about the innocent bystanders? What about bullets going through walls, windows, hitting people that are not even involved, or the other people who could be in the address that have nothing to do with this situation? I don't care what kind of rationale or excuse you can throw up. Children, innocent people, They just don't deserve to be murdered because your lack of ability to understand if you're at the right address or not. One case that's quite popular, quite famous. Lots of people know about Breonna Taylor. This poor woman just gunned down in her own home. She thinks she's getting ready to lay down for the night. Police again are looking for a man who is not there, who does not live there, and they've thrown around their share of excuses too. Oh, where he used to live there, or we've seen him picking up mail there. Look, if you've been casing the place out, you've probably seen that there are other people there as well, which means that you knew that there were other people possibly inside that place, and you did it anyway. But you want to blame Breonna Taylor's boyfriend, because he got the gun and shot first. I mean, to be honest with you, you just burst in the door late at night, early in the a.m., start screaming. Again, that's a person's instinct, especially if they're a license holder. So, I mean, throwing around excuses is not solving the problem. And what effects does this actually have on society? Now, I mean, we could probably talk about this for ages. But I'm just going to throw a few questions that I would like to think about here. In light of everything else that has been happening over the past, let's say, century and a half between the public and the police, hasn't been all that great. And can the police officers really be trusted? So some people, you begin to wonder, do they really have the wrong address, or do they just, doing what they can? This is not necessarily my opinion, right? This is the way that society starts to think when you have these incidents over and over again. Are these accidents, or is this intentional? I've also seen some posts, people, are they trying to kill us? People start to feel that way. They start to feel like they are being targeted. They are being hunted in some kind of way. And I've seen this post and heard people say this, and this is really not good for our society. If you're in trouble, don't call the police. It's gotten to this point. It really has. And this absolutely should not be the case. We have some issues, and this is one issue I think we need to deal with. If police are going to insist that they need to do raids for certain types of suspects, then there needs to be a little bit more due diligence, and there needs to be, why does it have to be in a residential area overall? I mean, do these suspects never leave their home? Is there any other way to deal with this? And if so, then I think we need to implement some widespread change here, and we need to cut out this people being killed in their own home for doing absolutely nothing. We have plenty of other things to worry about and ways that we could die every day without worrying about the people who are supposed to be helping to protect us, killing us, intentionally or not, in our home. And I think one of the best ways we can do this is we're going to have to find a way to dig deep and do this together. And the finger pointing is definitely going to have to stop. Throwing the reasons out there, well, it happened because of this, it happened because of that, at the end of the day is not going to help us solve these issues. This is what happened. It shouldn't have happened. What can we do to make sure this kind of thing does not happen again? All right, I would love to hear your comments and thoughts, and maybe some of you have some technical or some professional insights on these things, so I'd love to see them in the comments below. Thank you for watching again, and please, if you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button, and thank you very much for checking us out. Thank you.